Griots, verbal artists of the Mande people. So Mande people are in Africa, right? And verbal artists, people who use words for their art. And here's a picture of a griot telling stories in West Africa. Here's a West African proverb. A good story is like a garden carried in the pocket. So let's think about that, a whole garden, all kinds of flowers, fruits and vegetables, maybe a couple trees, right? A big patch of grass and a place to sit down, maybe a swing, right? All in your pocket. A good story, like a whole garden, just in your pocket. Here is a woodcut of 3 griots, the griots of King Sambala in Mali. Mali is a country in West Africa, and this is in 1890. And so here we have a map of Africa. Look at this map with me. And you can see there's the outline, and then all the different colors represent family groups of languages, right? And even within these areas, there are subfamilies of languages. But you can see a lot of different languages spoken in Africa. The other thing that this map shows so nicely is that those little dotted lines are the country borders. And the country borders in Africa are made by the political powers that colonized the country or the continent. And so the political powers made kind of artificial borders. Some of them are based on latitude and longitude lines. Some of them are based on rivers and mountains. But you can see in almost no place they are based on the language groups or the heritage of the people. The Mande people, look at that bottom color where it says Mande. On my screen, it's like a burgundy color, right? And then look up in West Africa where that burgundy color is. That's where the people we're talking about are, the Mande or Mandinga people. And that's where this griot oral storytelling tradition comes from. Here's one more map we're going to look at. First, look at the square in the bottom left corner that says West Africa. And you can see we're looking at the western part of the continent, and even the southwestern corner there. And then if you look at the larger map, you can see the different countries and their political borders. And then you can also see the green area is where the Mande language group is. And so look at the very top in Senegal. That's also an interesting country. Senegal is a country shaped like a backwards C, and it wraps entirely around the country Gambia, which is Gambia is completely landlocked by Senegal, and Gambia has the river basin. So Gambia is a country where one of the artists we're going to look at in a little bit come from. Mali also has a lot of griots, a big griot tradition. And then you can see the other countries too. Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, we call that the Ivory Coast, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and then Gambia and Senegal. Here's a postcard from the early part of the 1900s from Senegal. And on it in the bottom in French, it says, griots are, for the most part, musicians who accompany chiefs singing their praises. So griots are storytellers. They carry ancestral heritage, and often they are paired up with nobility. They follow a king and keep that king's noble heritage. Here's a gathering of griots in West Africa in 1925, a whole bunch of different griots getting together, and they have an instrument in front of them called a kora. Often griots are poets, but also musicians. A lot of times they use music to remember their stories or to share their stories. And here's another West African proverb. Every time an old man dies, it is as if a library has burnt down. So these old men, typically old men, we'll see later on that there are now female griots, right? But it typically is a male tradition. And every time one of these men passes away, it's like the whole history is gone. They pass it on and they try to save it. But there's also some of that history that passes on with the passing of each griot. Griots are poets and musicians who tell stories, sing songs of praise, and recite poems, often while playing a drum or stringed instrument. They perform music, dance, and drama. But griots are much more than skilled entertainers. They also educate their audience with historical accounts and genealogies or histories of people's ancestry. In many ways, they are the record keepers and historians of their people. Long before the Mande had written histories, griots preserved the memory of the past. Every village had its own griot. The griot memorized all the important events that occurred there. Griots could recite everything from births, deaths, and marriages to battles, hunts, and the succession of kings. Some griots could tell the ancestry of every villager going back centuries. Griots were known to speak for hours, and sometimes even for days. This rich oral tradition passed from griot to griot. Rulers relied on griots as their trusted advisors, and they used the griot's knowledge of history to shed light on their current problems. The most cherished information in griot history is the story of Sunjata Keita. Sunjata was the king who founded Mali's empire in the 13th century. Griot stories were told about him, even in his own lifetime. Sunjata remains a hero to many West Africans who still tell tales about him. The art of the griots remains alive today. Some of the most famous artists in West African popular music are griots. These artists have changed traditional oral works into modern song. This is a video. I have now 3 videos for you. They're each about 6 minutes long. And this one shows about griot life in West Africa.
Katanda folo mo baulu ultra di folo tari kulfo ni le bemba ka kele ke mande ada finya kwa bemba ka kele ke akamenke ultra fola metente ana bi generation ambramba andul tikele ifarulu ko tamidi ulantu fola ugo
Mon nom c'est Mohamedou Djabate. Je suis griot. Ici, au Mali, les griots, c'est le djeli. Le djeli, c'est le sang. Tu as vu, si quelqu'un n'a pas de sang, il meurt. Le rôle du sang dans le corps de l'être humain, c'est le rôle du griot dans la vie du peuple. On dit que les griots, un griot est la bouche, l'oreille, les yeux du peuple mandingue. C'est que le peuple a besoin de dire. C'est le griot qui dit ça. C'est que le peuple a besoin de voir. C'est le griot qui voit ça et puis il rencontre ça. Il dit ça. C'est que le roi ne veut pas entendre. C'est le griot qui lui fait entendre ça. C'est ça que le peuple veut.
Quelle manie, Afrique, manzalou, ala le boulot de Nyoma, quelle manie.
En jouant la kora, on va te dire dans la musique, on va te dire ce que tu as fait, c'est pas bon. Dans la musique, on va te dire ce que tu as fait, c'est bon. Dans la musique, on va te dire ce que tu dois faire.
Je m'appelle Toumani Diabaté, Philippe Toumani Diabaté. Je suis un griot, un Yamakala, un Djeli né au Mali. Je suis un joueur de Kora, de père en fils. Je suis professeur de Kora au Conservatoire des Arts et je suis le leader du groupe Symétrique Orchestra au Mali. Chaque griot a son maître, c'est-à-dire chaque famille a son griot qui connaît l'histoire de cette famille et qui fait les démarches pour les mariages, pour les baptêmes, pour tout de cette famille. Et ces gens sont appelés les Djatigi. Les Djatigi qui sont communément appelés en français les nobles. Alors chaque noble a son griot. Alors le noble ne fait pas le rôle d'un griot et le griot aussi ne fait pas le rôle d'un noble. Chacun a sa place. Ça c'est les relations. Mais le noble est toujours supérieur au griot par l'humilité.
Alifalu kamen kosi dindi ul yolle tenkendi baki bari kora be monte kanne jalindi ulu kata eni tuabur ya pong.
Nous avons dans le répertoire des griots, nous avons des chansons qui ne changent pas, qui sont là, qui restent comme ça intactes. Mais à côté, les griots font des compositions aussi pour la musique qui plaît aux jeunes d'aujourd'hui. Donc c'est pour vous dire que la vie, ça se développe. Mais je joue un instrument traditionnel et je continue à jouer comme ça.
next one is, the video is not nearly so exciting, so I invite you, you don't necessarily need to watch. This is here for the oral story that he's telling. It's fun to see his clothes and his African dress too, a little bit. But this is one where you could just listen.
Those were non-coronavirus days, I'm guessing.
Exactly, they were non-coronavirus days. Okay, here's the next one.
And that's what I'm missing.
I get it.
I'm gonna go and draw.
Africa, during the time of the Empire of Sugu, there lived a griot who was a traditional storyteller born into a family of storytellers. His name was Sokufo Siraba. Now let me tell you something about Sokufo Siraba. He wasn't your average everyday griot. No, he didn't only memorize the history of his people, the genealogy. He didn't only know all of the songs or the politics or the constitution of the nation. Sokufo Siraba was creative. What he had done was he had taken Jalia, which was the work of his ancestors, and fashioned it into something that was pleasing to every ear. He played the harp, a kora. But unlike most of us, Sokufo Siraba was not happy with his lot. You see, the king at that time, his name was Dajera, and this is a true story. Dajera used to call Sokufo Siraba to his palace, and when Sokufo Siraba would come, he would come riding a grand white Arabian horse, which Dajera had given him. He would come dressed in the finest of clothing, which, as a king, Dajera was responsible for giving the griot. Now, here was the problem. Sokufo Siraba, although he was rich and owned land that the king had given him and had more gold than any noble, was not a noble. He was a griot, which is one step below being a noble. Everyone has their lot or their responsibility in life. But Sokufo Siraba looked around and he said, you know, I have more gold than most nobles. I have more land than most nobles. I even have more wives than most nobles. I'm just messing with the women, y'all. Why is it that I am not treated like a noble? So one day, Sokufo Siraba went to the king, Dajera, and he said, King, I am going to put my harp down and never sing again. Dajera said, there is no one who can make a harp sing if it does not want to. So Sokufo Siraba smashed his harp against a rock. Now after he had done this, he began to walk around as though he was a noble, but he wasn't a noble. But he began to walk around like that. His chest was poked out. He would flaunt his gold, his cowries, his cattle, his land in front of everyone. Now, one day, his cattle got some sort of a sickness, which passed not only from the cows, but to the sheep, all the way down to the poultry, until one day, all of his livestock had died. Every single last one. Not only that, but for some reason, whenever they planted anything in the ground of Sokufo Siraba's home, nothing would grow there. Now, you might think his situation is getting very bad, and it was, but he began to lose his money trying to pay for more cattle, trying to buy more seed to plant, trying to do all these things until finally he went broke. And after he went broke, he lost another thing. His wife. That's right. She left him for this big, brawny blacksmith with a job. Now, you might think that is the worst of it, but no. Over time, Sokufo Siraba began to lose his eyesight until one day he went totally blind. Now, to make matters even worse, his dog up and died on him. That was the last straw, y'all. That was the last straw. Sokufo Siraba called one of his sons and had him bring a gourd, some skin, some horsehair, some different things. And even though he was blind, he sat down and began to fashion his harp. He didn't have to see it. He began to create it. And he did something different with it. And he told his son, tomorrow we go to see the king, Dajera. He had a beautiful harp he had made, even though he was blind. And the next day, his son led him to the gates of the palace. And when he did, the guard stopped him. He said, I come to hold counsel with the king. And they said, who is this dirty old blind man who comes to hold counsel with the king? He said, please, I am a griot. It is my job to sing for the king. So they brought the counselors out. The counselors didn't know what he was. Everyone was looking at him. Nobody knew this was Sakupal Siraba. He looked ragged, torn, as though life had just grabbed him and turned him inside out. They led him in to see the king. And he began to play his harp. He began to sing a totally different song. Because they say when you've experienced life's pain, then you truly know how to sing. And he began to sing. He began to sing to Dajera not only about the history, but about a broken man, a broken heart. Someone who had turned their back on their given craft, their given art, their given way. It was at that point that a tear came to Dajera's eyes. And he realized the man standing before him was Sakupal Siraba. He told Sakupal Siraba, you have sunk this low. I will now bring you back. And he not only gave Sakupal Siraba more cattle, more gold, he gave him an entire village and told him, you will rule this village. You have learned what it takes some a lifetime and some never learn. You see, there's a proverb that says, although the new broom sweeps really well, the old broom knows the corners. Dajera had seen that Sakupal Siraba learned the corners.
This next one is from the Leaf Festival, right outside of Asheville here.
Did you just say Leaf Festival?
Yes, I just said the Leaf Festival, right? So this is an
For some
artist.
reason, my TV just went on.
Okay, so I.
Just laying on the couch.
Yep. So let me finish, okay, and I'll tell you about what we're gonna see. So the Leaf Festival that takes place in Lake Eden outside of Asheville has different artists that come, and they have big stages, but they also have small stages with really where you really get to meet the artists. And this is an artist that I actually met at the Leaf Festival in a small stage. She's a woman of the griot tradition, and she is also carrying it forward, but she is new to be recognized as a female griot.
The Leaf Festival is the place to be.
Her name's Sona Jabarta. Uh-oh. Let's try that again.
The Leaf Festival is the place to be.
The instrument she's playing is the kora.
Thank you, women and men. All right, we're going to play a song right now, which is a special song because it's a traditional song from Mali. It's called Kaira. It's a very well-known song from Mali, but this is my adaptation of the song. But we also be joined by balafon here, which is another instrument from the same tradition, but it's much older than the kora, in fact. So this is like a marimba, I guess, or a xylophone or something from this side of the world. So we're going to be joined by another member of the group, and this is a person that is representing two things. One thing he's doing is he's representing the fact that this tradition is hereditary. So that means we have relied on it for the past 700 years for it to be passed down from generation to generation within certain families. And there's only 5 main families that are responsible for that in West Africa. So we have to do our job to make sure we pass it on to every generation, otherwise it will die definitely. And now we have so many different changes in our countries that sometimes it's difficult to keep these traditions alive. So it's very important we inspire the youngsters to take it up and make sure that the traditions are relevant to them, you know? The second thing he's doing is he's representing his school, the school that he goes to, which is actually a school that I started 2.5 years ago in the Gambia. And it's a full-time school for children between 8 up to 18 years to study traditional music, traditional culture and their history, but it's integrated with a full-time curriculum, so they learn all the subjects, English, math, science, all of it, but with music and culture at its center. Right? So this is the first school of its kind in the Gambia, and I'm very proud to say that we are now moving to expand to be an academy, the country's first academy for music and culture, September 2019. So I hope you guys will come and visit us, all right, in the Gambia. Please do, all right. I do have CDs on sale somewhere around the festival. I don't know where they are, but they are somewhere. Maybe you know more than me. He's pointing over there. Maybe they're somewhere that way, over there. All the proceeds of my CDs are going to support my school and the academy expansion. So please do know that your money is going somewhere if you purchase a CD. So without much talking now, I would like to introduce Sidiki Jobate to the stage, who's going to play balafon. He's also somebody that's special to me as well.
And there is a list of the sources I used to put this together. And we will now create some oral history.
I was actually drawing.
So
I was just drawing, doing anything really. This is all I've gotten so far.
right. And so I just want to take a pause here about, first of all, just kind of behavior during class. So again, maybe that wasn't entirely interesting to you, but I spent a lot of time preparing that to bring you information. And what I saw during it was a lot of chat screens popping up, right? So if you're going to be disengaged and uninterested, I'm going to unmute you.
I had a question, and then Charlie
Well,
just like,
Austin,
went crazy on this chat.
I know, I see that. Okay, Austin, you're unmuted.
Oh, I like the second one.
Cool. What'd you like about it?
I like that it was a story.
It was a story. It was an interesting story. What was
I
the
love
story
people
about?
telling stories.
What?
I love it when people
Tell
tell
stories.
stories.
What was it about?
It was about a person who played harp for the king. Then he decided not to do it anymore, and he destroyed the harp. And then he went broke and came back blind and played and sang for the king. And the king gave him his own village. That's the short version.
That's really good. Short synopsis. Way to go. That's exactly what I was asking. So here's the thing. Just chatting silliness back and forth. And I just looked at the chats. I realized Charlie was a big part of it. And Charlie's disappeared. His internet sometimes comes and goes. Maybe he'll be back. But
yeah, I kept wondering who was doing the chat thing.
So I think it was Charlie mostly, and I think Amara, you were going on.
Not me.
So keep your chatting for your social time. It's not during class presentations, right? Just a little note on that. So let's get into creating some of our own oral history about this period of time. So one of the things I wondered about is that when I look around me, I see, right? And so I think that's interesting because for one thing, we're at home, so our environment's really different. So why don't we start with that one, where we were before. When I look around me, I see. Amara, what do you see when you look around you?
Well, I see my GoPro, my dad's 3 monitors, my dad's computer, my dad's 4th monitor, printer, the bookshelf, window, the other window, and the 3rd window, and the lamp. I see a lot of things.
Good. How about you, Austin? When you look around, what do you see?
The clock, how to build beginner Minecraft book, this painting that I think my great grandpa painted that looks like Minecraft and I like it. My lava lamp, which doesn't work anymore, and my own shelf that I made.
Really cool. Here comes Charlie back too.
I can actually show you what my shelf looks like. I made it myself.
You made your shelf yourself?
Huh?
Nice.
You want to see it?
Yes.
The one with the TNT on it?
No, I can't build that.
Hi, Charlie.
Oh, that's cool. That's amazing. You could put like a lot of Minecraft stuffies on there.
Nice shelf. So, Charlie, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, my computer crashed.
No, I get that. Sometimes that's tricky. So one thing that you missed was a note about not chatting during presentations in class, right?
Because it's really rude to the people who are watching.
So, and that's what Austin was saying too. And so it was also distracting to me. I'm like, what's going on in the middle? Oh, there's all these things. Oh, somebody's chatting, right? And so it's distracting. And so chatting is a social thing at social time. And in our Zoom meetings like this, chatting is also, for example, where you can share information. but it's not so much just for random play toy during class, right?
We got 8 minutes left. What are we going to do?
We don't have 8 minutes left. We are going until 12:30. We have 38 minutes left.
Oh.
And we are going to keep making
Well, I better get my charger, I guess.
So, Charlie, now it's your turn. When I look around me, I see. What do you see, Charlie, when you look around you?
Well, I see little baby chicks that are rather noisy. I see a very beautiful maple tree in my front yard. And I see my kitten.
Nice. So the
Yeah.
next question I think is interesting is, and we'll start with Amara maybe on this one. So there are places in the world that don't have any coronavirus. There are some islands, there are some different places where it doesn't exist because it hasn't gotten there. And those people have, cut themselves
We're not
off.
quarantined, and I would love to go there.
So, Amara, if you were going to give advice to those people, what advice would you give them to prepare?
I would tell them to gather as many herbs as possible, and I would give them all the list of herbs that would help, like plant herbs. Because, those are really good for you.
I think that's great. That's a good piece of advice. Austin, I'm going to unmute you. You were swinging your chair. Austin, what would you give people for advice?
3 words. Get more ventilators.
Wait, what? Get more what?
I said 3 words. Get more ventilators.
Ventilators? What are those?
Oh, those are things that help you breathe when you have coronavirus.
Good, good. Charlie, how about you? What advice would you give?
Well, I would say start making masks. Don't start the quarantine when it reaches you. Start it now. Go to the grocery store and stock up on as many non-perishables as you can, and then just stock up on some water and stay away from everyone and
Try to keep doing your
don't
job.
go and just don't go anywhere if you can help it. That's all we're doing.
That's good advice. That's really good
Try to
advice.
work from home also. That's very, very important.
Wait, say that one again, Austin.
Forgot what I was going to say, but I have a new thing.
Okay.
And I forgot what that was, too. Let me
Okay.
think. Give me a second to think. Somebody else can do it.
Okay, that's cool. When you have an idea, we'll get it. Hopefully we won't talk on top of each other. But it's interesting to think about. What advice would you give to somebody who didn't know what was coming?
Oh, yeah, work from home.
Good. That's what my
Miss
parents
Lisa.
do. My dad does it all the time.
Miss Lisa, I've got one.
What, Charlie?
Well, make sure you have a doctor.
Make
sure.
sure you have. That's a good one, Charlie.
Make sure you have a doctor.
And make sure you have lots of Jell-O, just in case. That's what my family
And
does.
get all your favorite snacks, too, because you're going to be in the quarantine for a while if the coronavirus gets you.
Oh, and try to make food stores only open to delivery people. I heard it on the news.
Yeah, well, that's not true.
Yeah, I don't really believe the news at all.
The news,
Yeah, I feel like they only serve up the drama, if you know what I mean.
Some things on the news are true, but not
But a
all.
lot of things are just like the big details and drama. If you didn't get all that drama and got some of the good sides, you would probably realize coronavirus isn't that scary at all.
Yeah.
that's what I hate. That's
It's
why I
not
feel
really
so
that
bad for
dangerous,
my grandma.
actually.
and my
For
grandpa.
kids. It's actually just really dangerous for like old people.
So let's get all those things separately. Amara, take your turn, and then Charlie.
About what?
What you just said, but say it by yourself instead of when you're all talking on top of each other, nobody can understand anything. And I would like to get snippets of this to record to share later. So if you're talking on top of each other, I realize you're excited, but I'd love to get those things separately. Charlie, you have something to contribute?
Yeah. That's what I hate
Hold on,
about
I gotta
it.
go
That's
check
why
my
I
phone.
feel so.
What?
Okay, Charlie, they're muted. You can talk by yourself.
Okay. That is why I feel so bad for my grandma and grandpa, because they just focus on the bad stuff and they just get traumatized. And my grandma, she has memory loss and she just gets so panicked. And my grandpa just focuses on all the negative stuff, and that gets my grandma so nervous. She's just like, you know?
I do. I understand it. I not necessarily for them, but my own father has memory loss and doesn't understand very well, and we can't go see him. He lives next to my brother, but my brother can't go into the place where he is, so he's pretty confused. And I understand it's harder. It's hard. People are worried, older people especially, I think, but different people for different reasons. Okay, Austin, I'm unmuting you. You were making background noise. What do you want to add?
The real reason we're not supposed to get outside and stay 3 feet away from each other and wear masks is really just because we want to protect old people. Like, I don't go outside at all because literally almost everyone in my neighborhood is old.
That's respectful of
So I'm
you.
trying to protect them.
It's a big part of what we're doing is protecting other people.
I only know like one kid that lives here other than me and his brother.
Do you guys miss playing with your friends?
Yeah. Oh, I play with like Mario Kart with them and stuff.
But not in person so much.
Yeah. I have to like Skype them.
Right.
And FaceTime. But at least the plus side is I get to see my best friend a lot more.
On the computer?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because we've never thought of like playing together virtually until like now.
And so
Me and my friend Ewan.
What, Charlie?
Me and my friend Ewan like playing D&D over video calls.
That's cool. What other new things are you doing with your friends? New and different.
Well, now that I have a computer, I'm chatting with them over email, stuff like that. Oh, and by the way, Amara, I put you in my contacts.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So, Amara, what new ways are you connecting with people?
Well, I don't really know. I don't really have any new ways.
That's okay. You don't have
I've
to
always
have new
connected
ways.
with Reese by FaceTime.
Nice. That's the same then.
Yeah.
Cool. What about how this makes you feel? Does anybody, how does these changes, is it like exciting and cool because you don't have to go anywhere? Or is it disappointing and sad? Or how does it make you feel?
It's upsetting and I hate it.
Well, I hate to say it, but I kind of love it.
What do you love about
I love sitting at home. I always crank when I go to a parade, so at least there's one good thing that is coming out of it, you know?
Great attitude. How about you, Charlie? How does this make you feel?
I'm just kind of bored, you know, because I can't go to the library, I can't go on trips, you know? And the worst part is I can't go to other friends' houses, but me and my friend Ewan did this really fun thing where we went to his house during coronavirus, but we stayed on the one side of the driveway, and they stayed on the other side.
That's nice. There's a new way to socialize with somebody. Go play with your friend, but really far away.
Yeah, we just stay 6 feet apart.
Way to go. Austin, what were you going to add? Wait, there you go.
People have been like hiding stuffies in their yard and putting jokes on the driveway. So go on like a bike ride and you might see some stuff that you don't usually see, like stuffies in the tree.
Fun stuff to look at in the yard that's not normally there because people are out walking.
Really weird.
Have you seen weird things, Amara?
Oh, I saw on YouTube. Sorry if I interrupted.
No, that's okay.
I saw on YouTube, someone made, like, they took an Amazon Prime box and then they could fit in it and they put, like, eyes on the arrow thing.
On the smile thing?
Yeah. It looks so weird. It was so funny. I was like, what the heck?
So, Charlie, what's going on for you?
Crazy far.
Charlie, I'm unmuting you. Just a second. I can't get you unmuted. Is that what's going on, Charlie? You can't get unmuted.
What the heck? Why do I have any shoes?
So, oh, Charlie, now you're there.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Did you have something to contribute?
Yeah, also, my kitten is really funny because we had a fire last night out in the field, and it was like a bonfire. We took her out. She freaked out. She flipped out of her harness. Ooh. And when I was cornering her towards the chicken yard, she didn't see it, and she ran smack into it. She went, "Ugh." She was like, ooh. She like ran into it and like sat back real hard on her haunches. She was like, oh, ow.
Was she okay?
It was really funny. Trust me, she's fallen off the stairs before.
Well, there you go. Cool. Okay, Austin, you're back. I'm unmuting you.
But at least
I wasn't muted that whole time, I'm pretty sure.
No, I muted you when you start jumping on your bed so that I can have good audio when other people talk.
Okay.
So, also, the good part about getting a kitten right before quarantine is that she can entertain me by chasing around our older cat, Fiddle, and driving him off the bed in the middle of the night. She will sit on him and just bite him and attack him till he runs away. And then she'll just look after him, and then she'll jump on top of him. She was like, ow!
Fun. What about if a new pet is a fun thing at quarantine? What about new and different things going on in your family? Like new and different things you do now that you didn't do before?
I got one. We're watching TV pretty much every night.
Like family TV, something?
Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Amara? Do you have new family rituals, new family patterns, different things now that you're staying home more?
All right, everyone. For the love of all things sanitary, wash your hands!
So wait a second, Amara. Austin, say that again.
For the love of all things sanitary, wash your hands!
That's good. It's a big lesson now. Do you guys wash your hands?
Yeah.
You should be on the news. They should make you on the news. And then you could like pop up on the news and you could just say that. That'd be funny.
How?
It was pretty funny. Amara, what about you? Do you have new family rituals, new things going on, change of pattern since the coronavirus?
No, not really.
Not really. It's not that much different.
There's been changes ever since my parents separated.
Right,
I
that's
don't wanna
the
talk
bigger
about
change.
that.
I get that. That's the bigger change for you.
You know
What about new and different food? Anybody eating different kind of food?
I'm eating cereal every day, and I just ate sandwiches for breakfast.
Well, we're having more candy than usual.
More candy than usual. Fun. What about you, Austin?
You know what this feels like?
What?
A zombie apocalypse.
How? Why?
Because if you get like 3 feet close to a zombie in like any zombie movie, you'll probably get eaten up.
So this quarantine's kind of like the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't actually like the zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I get what you're saying. What else is this kind of like? Charlie.
Yeah?
What else is this kind of like?
It kind of reminds me of, well, you know, whenever you're home alone, you're just kind of like stuck home. You can't go anywhere. You can't meet up with friends, but you can do video calls. And you can pretty much do whatever you want. But it kind of reminds me of like being home alone, you know?
Oh, like, have you seen the movie Home Alone?
I've only seen half of it, really.
I saw the whole thing. It was really funny.
I'll try and check it out.
Yeah, like the original Home Alone. It's awesome and super funny. Especially the
One
end.
time I saw some of my family watching Home Alone too. And there's this part where the boy was just like, these guys were after the boy, and the boy turned on the TV, and then the guys thought the TV was talking to them.
I know, that happened to the original Home Alone. It was like, all right, keep the change, you filthy animal. And then he's like, and then the TV goes, like he's skipping it back and forth to make it say stuff. And he says, all right, the TV goes, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get your ugly yellow t-shirt off my property. 3,
1.
And the pizza man is like, ah! It's really fun.
Next question. Describe for me a typical day in quarantine. Let's start with Charlie.
Wake up, yawn, 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 sigh, quarantine, go down, have breakfast, do bookwork, whatever.
Go back to sleep.
Wait. Okay, so Austin, I appreciate your interjection, right? But this is Charlie's turn to speak. So Charlie, let's go back and let's let Charlie speak by himself. Now Charlie went away. Okay, Austin, take a turn. What's a typical day like for you in quarantine?
Wake up, sleep in, come down, tutoring, get up from tutoring, complain about doing schoolwork, do schoolwork, even though it's literally only 4 pages of math. Then, get more breakfast. Like 30 minutes later, get another snack. 30 minutes after that, another snack. 30 minutes after that, lunchtime. 30 minutes after that, snack. 5 minutes after that, snack. 30 minutes after that, snack. 5 minutes after that, dinner. And then dessert.
For me, this is what it's more like for me. Wake up, yawn, have a nice morning, do bookwork, eat dinner. Eat lunch. Little time, eat dinner, watch movies, and eat dessert. Dessert usually consists of a rather large amount of candy or something else, even better, like cake.
Nice. How about you, Amara, a typical day?
At my mom's house, wake up,
See you, Amara.
just hang around, maybe play my piano, drink water, eat breakfast. I really don't know, but I'll tell you what happens at my dad's house. Wake up, drink water. I'm gonna wake up at like 5 or something in the morning, go back to sleep. Wake up again, and then drink water, eat breakfast. 8 o'clock, watch Technology Time, and well, you know what happens. I just watch all day. I don't really have a schedule, so.
And maybe less so during quarantine, huh?
Yeah.
I always have to have a schedule. If I don't, I'll freak out.
Is your quarantine schedule much different than your regular schedule?
No, it's about the same.
What's Technology Time?
It's when you play video games, watch TV, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
and I just mentioned my Technology Time at 3 o'clock because I'm
very
figured
surprised
that was
you guys know
predictable.
what technology is.
I do. I know what technology is. I play video games at 3 o'clock. I didn't put that on my schedule because it's the same thing every day.
I'm doing Technology Time right now.
That's it. We're all doing Technology Time right now. Technology school time.
Oh.
I'm basically just drawing.
So one more category for you today, which is, what would you tell yourself to get ready for quarantine from before quarantine? Like if you could go back and give yourself a message for a few months ago, what message would you give yourself?
Stay home and don't go anywhere. And
Charlie, let's pause a minute again. Charlie, you're in class. Integrate with your computer like a young man, right? I don't want to see you doing acrobatics and all that. You're answering a question in class. Integrate with your computer and sit like you're in a class or something, just for a little bit. Playtime's coming later. Cool. Now answer the question. Thank you.
Well, stay home for goodness sake. Make masks and just stock up on food, and also don't hug anyone.
How about you, Amara? Oh, there's a nice drawing. Let's finish up and we'll do some sharing time at the end. So, Amara, what advice would you give yourself to prepare for quarantine?
Wash your hands, stock up on all your snacks and all your favorite foods, especially ice cream because it's summertime here. And get some cake batter. Wash your freaking hands every time after you go to the bathroom. Stock up on a ton of toilet paper, that your whole bathroom is filled on with toilet paper. And yeah, get a ton of masks.
It's still going.
Okay.
Okay, Austin, you too. Come back and be classroomy with us. I know that's tricky for you sometimes, and I don't mind standing up so much, but you know, it's not like you're putting on a show in the background, right? You're just waiting while you take your turn.
What?
So, Austin, what kind of advice would you give yourself to prepare for quarantine?
Actually, I already did that.
Well, you did kind of advice for other people. I wondered if it would be different advice for yourself.
I ran into the closet. I sent myself back in time, and then I made myself think, hey, why am I here at the downtown dribble? It's coronavirus. And then I decided not to go into the stadium full of flu and coronavirus.
Good advice. Charlie, what
No, like I actually did that.
No, I know.
What would you do, Miss Lisa?
What would I do to prepare?
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you do?
Or advice I would give myself?
Yep.
I would say get better at teaching online. And, get good at preparing things in the computer, and plant seeds. I think. So.
Oh, and another thing I would tell myself, and something I would tell myself would be get good computer hacks for sometimes when screen sharing doesn't work.
Exactly. Good thinking. Amara, Austin, Charlie, anybody have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, so I then am going to take these things, these reflections that you've all made, and edit just the audio part into an oral history of this period of time. Is it okay if I put that on my website and share it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't put my face on there or any of my info.